You found your dream home. You want to make an offer. You have your approval letter in hand, but as it turns out, some other people really like it too, and that property is in multiple offers. My name is Joe Schwartzbauer, your favorite Twin Cities realtor, and I am here today to break down what we are doing to help our buyers win when they want to win. Stick around, we're going to get really tactical in this. I understand how frustrating it can be when you found that dream home, but somebody else did as well. So the top two things that sellers are going to be looking for is number one, price. They want to get the most that they can for the house. But number two, right behind that is certainty of closing. They want to assure that if you're going to give them this price, that you're going to make it to the closing date. So how can we put the sellers at ease and make sure that we put you in a winning position? You can be assured that every other buyer is going to know that there is multiple offers on that property. You essentially are going to have one chance to submit your best and highest offer that is the most attractive that you can make it to the sellers and hope that they pick you. You can also be assured that when it's in multiple offers, I'd be willing to pretty much bet my real estate license that it's going to go for over the list price. Now let's talk about paying over the list price. It's something that I don't want you to have to do. Without a doubt, we want you to get the absolute best deal that you can on a home. But when the market is really competitive, you're going to have to get a little bit more aggressive. If you're not willing to pay over the list price, honestly, it's probably not worth even writing an offer. And if you're going to be in that home for only 2 to 3 to 4 years, I would say don't even write the offer. We don't want to put you in a negative equity position where you're actually underwater on the loan. We want to make sure that there's going to be the future value in that property. Now, if you're going to be staying in that property for 5 to 7 to 10 years, we can definitely go a little bit higher. And if that home is your absolute dream home and your forever home, price kind of goes out the window, and it's really more now about what is that home worth to you? What are you willing to pay for that home, knowing that somebody else paid just $1 more for it and you'd be willing to walk away at that point. In our market here in the Twin Cities, it's really typical to see homes selling at least 10% over their list price. So we would recommend that if you are going to go over the list price, start at 10%. You can go a little bit less depending on the number of offers, and your agent should be able to help you out with kind of determining where the market activity is and just how aggressive you should be on that property. All right, so you've decided that you want to go big on this one and you're willing to go 10, 15% over the list price. Well, that's all well and good, but the sellers are going to be concerned you're willing to pay possibly more than what the value of the home is. How can we be assured that we are going to actually get that upon closing? This is where an appraisal guarantee comes in. So an appraisal guarantee, I would suggest that you go and watch the other video that I shot about appraisal guarantees so you can learn about that a bit more, but I'm going to go briefly into it here. Well, an appraisal guarantee essentially is going to state that the buyers are going to cover any difference between the appraised value and the purchase price. So when you purchase a home using financing, the lender is going to do an appraisal on the property. Well, if that appraisal comes in below your purchase price, we have to go back and negotiate with the sellers. And the sellers understand that if we go back and negotiate with them, they're not going to get that purchase price that we put forward in our original purchase agreement. So you, as the buyer, are saying that you're going to cover the difference between the purchase price and the appraised value. All right, you're willing to do that, but you don't want to have to pay more than you need to for a home. And man, do I understand that, and do I ever agree with that. You shouldn't pay more than you need to. One of the ways that we make sure that you don't need to pay more than you need to in order to win is by using an escalation clause. Now, an escalation clause is essentially going to state that we are willing to beat any other offer on the table by $2,000 up to a max purchase price of X. Kind of whatever you decide your absolute top dollar is. And when considering that top dollar, go back to what we were talking about earlier, it should be a price that if you knew that somebody else paid $1,000 more than you, you would be okay walking away from that home knowing that they got it. Now, here's something else that we always suggest doing, and it's trying to be the absolute first tour into that house. Oftentimes, properties are going into a coming soon status where we can look at the home online, schedule our tour from when the active date is available on the MLS. Let's be there at 8 in the morning and walk through. Let's be the very first offer that is in the seller's hands. This is often a leg up because it shows you are committed, you are there early, and you're being aggressive right away. When we are able to get there early and we are able to be that first offer that's in, there's a few different tricks that we can use at that point. We can use something like a sunset clause. Well, a sunset clause is basically saying that, hey, we want our offer accepted by 4 p.m. or we're walking away. Or something like a de-escalation clause, where we want our offer accepted by 4 p.m. and if not, it's going to drop down to X. Or if you don't want to go the negative route, we can go the positive route and basically do a quick acceptance bonus. Hey sellers, if you are willing to accept our offer by 4 p.m. today, we're going to give you an additional $10,000. Doing that puts it on the sellers to make a quick decision, because right now sellers do hold all the power, and if we can take a little bit of that back, sometimes that'll put us in a pretty good position. Another thing that we're seeing a lot of in today's market right now are buyers waiving their right to have an inspection on the property. Now this is something that has been really popular on the West Coast for a very long time, and it's now really starting to creep into the Midwest markets over here. It's something that a lot of buyers are doing. Now, I can't suggest that you write an offer and completely waive your right to inspect a property. I believe that $400 to $600 on the property inspection is some of the best money that you can spend. But because we're going to be up against other buyers that are waiving their inspections, we recommend doing something like an inspection guarantee. So an inspection guarantee is going to allow you to have an inspection on the home, but it is going to say something along the lines of the buyers will not negotiate on any single item with an estimated repair cost of $5,000 or less, or $10,000 or less, or $15,000 or less. Essentially, we want to give the sellers good peace of mind that we are not going to nickel and dime them and ask them to replace that GFCI outlet that's within 6 feet of a water source that gets called out all the time. Using an inspection guarantee does also give you the right to walk away from the property if you do find out that some of the items that are there are a little bit too large of fixes for anything that you want to take on. Now, another route to go with that inspection guarantee is to simply say, our inspection is for informational purposes only. We will not negotiate on anything. Again, this still gives you the right to walk away from the property if you find something that you don't like. So those are kind of the basics of what we're doing, but there's a whole lot more. I want you to make sure that you watch the next 2 videos. Those are the ones that we're going to dive into the really creative stuff that doesn't really cost you any money and can put you in a fabulous position in order to win. We'll see you on those ones.